Father, we need your help for our country. The monumental task before us seems insurmountable, yet we know that you are in control and the ultimate authority. Please strengthen us, Lord. We pray that you will give us courage, energy, and abundant resources to do your will in this nation. Help us return America to the principles and values of our founders and your guidance. We pray you will reveal the evil and corruption and give us driving passion and boundless energy to take the necessary actions. We pray you will wake up your body to the urgency of the dangers facing us and prod them to join us. Lord, we pray that you will inform us all and spur us to action. We have runoff elections coming up, Lord. We pray that our current leaders will make wise, moral, lawful decisions. We pray that each new election will bring us better leaders, incorruptible leaders whose goal is to serve you and the people. Thank you for all you've done for us and blessing this great nation. Please bring us new members to this club so that we can support virtuous candidates. Please do not allow the Klein ISD bond to pass. Bring us people to expose and defeat the corruption that's in the school districts and in all areas of government. Bring us a moral majority in the county commissioner's court and in every election. We ask all this in Jesus' mighty name. May your will be done. Amen.
Thank you so much. And now for the pledge to the U.S. flag, Tom Nobis.
So let's pledge to the great nation and pray for its continued ongoing and get us back to where we need to be. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. And now we will have the pledge to the Texas flag by Todd Frankfurt. I'm sorry, I apologize.
It is on the screen. Say the pledge to the greatest state in the nation. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Play ball.
Thank you so much, Todd. And now we like to recognize our first responders and our precinct chairman. Will the first responders and precinct chairman, even if you have been a precinct chairman in the past, please stand so that we can thank you. Thank you so much for your service. And now we would like to also recognize our military, veterans, military parents, grandparents of active military, and we also want to recognize our host, Ray. Is he here? I don't think so. Okay. Well, with all of our veterans and military who've been in the military, either now or in the past, parents, relatives, please stand. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now, wonderful Norma Jeter is going to introduce our guests.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay. If this actually works. We've got a number of guests here, some for the first time, some are repeats, and we're glad for both. Russell Metzler and Melanie Metzler, I believe they're over here. Thank you for coming back. And I think they're good friends of Mark Gollaby. Am I right? Yes. Okay. So, Mark, thanks for bringing friends and family to join us. Roberta and Ron Lance, I believe they're new. Welcome. And I think Alexi brought them. Alexi, good job. And Paul Jordan and Jeannie Jordan are here. And we've known Paul for quite a while. This is the first time he's brought Jeannie, but I think he brought her along for moral support because he's going to be a new precinct chairman. Thank you. So raise your hand, Paul. Raise your hand so they know who we are. Okay. And Magdalena Santos, right here. Welcome. And who did you come with? Okay, very good. Thank you. Whatever it takes. Thank you. Glad you're here. And Curtis McKinley. Curtis comes around here occasionally. He's just everywhere all over the county. Curtis, where are you? I saw him a minute ago. Chris David is here with Kevin Brost, and we will hear from them shortly. And they just happen to be connected to some kind of ESD election. I think we're going to hear about that. Yes, that's my district too. And elected officials, Tom Nobis, SD7 SREC. And I see Valerie Swanson, our state rep for District 150. And Kevin Brost is actually with Harris County ESD 11 presently, and he is running for re-election, and we'll be hearing from him. Political candidates have signed in, and I'm going to name them and let you stand up and just have like 10 seconds to introduce yourself. And any runoff candidates, we will give 1 or 2 minutes to talk about yourself a little bit later. So Todd Frankfurt, you want to tell who you are? He won his spot in the primary. And representing Kyle Scott tonight are his parents. Don't stand up. We are so glad to have you. You can tell how much we love Kyle. Well, we're going to fight hard for him in the general, too. Okay, George Brian Vacris, you want to stand up?
I'm running for state senate against John Whitmire. The district starts on the other side of 1960. It's probably one of the most gerrymandered districts in the state since the 19th in office. He's been there for 28 years. Way too long. And he is definitely not pro-life or pro-family values. And I'll say more at another day.
Right. And let's see, Brad Hart.
My name is Brad Hart. I'm running for the 230th Criminal District Court. I was the judge of that court until 2018, running to take it back. It's incredibly important.
You're going to speak.
Incredibly important
Alex?
that we get every single Republican judge elected this fall.
Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Vidal Martinez is here, and we'll get to speak in a minute. He's one of our runoff candidates. And Marianne Jackson is here for Alex Miller. And are you going to be speaking for her at the time? Okay. Okay, great. Let's see. I think that does it. Oh, Sonia Aston has arrived, and she is running for judge of the 157th Court. Sonia, glad to see you.
Thank you. Sonia Aston, happy to be here. And I'm very excited to be with y'all tonight. And as Brad had said, it's very important to vote all the way down the ballot. We want to get all of the Republican judges in. So tell your friends, tell your friends' friends, tell it's so on and so on and so on. We need to reach out to the middle and pull them in because everybody wants a change because the crime has got to stop. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's good to see you again, Sonia. And We have so many of our previous judges who are back again that we're so glad to have them back, and we're just going to support them as hard as we can. And Valerie, have I forgotten someone? Chris David, raise your hand.
For any political office. And I'm excited to be here tonight and would hope for your support for ESD 11 as a district commissioner, and just excited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Thank you. And we
There are
will
two
hear-
open spots. Kevin Brost here, who's currently on the board, is seeking re-election, and we want to move forward, not backwards.
Amen. We will hear a little bit more about some of the details of ESD 11 in a few minutes. Okay, I think I've got them all. Okay. Did I miss anyone? Any elected officials? Any guests? Any candidates that did not get introduced? Okay. You want me to do that? Okay. Next on the agenda, we have some announcements. Tom Nobis will go first, talking about elections and the convention. And Tom is right here, I think. Okay. Tom is our SREC for SD7.
Okay. It's like they said, ESD 11, you have two ESD elections. You got ESD 11 and ESD 9. And actually, there are some precincts where part of the precincts are in 9 and part are in 11. ESD 9 is more to the west of here. And if you need information on ESD 9, I've got some cards on people that are running. But those elections are being run by the ESD or their representative, which are separate from the Harris County constitutional amendment elections. The ESD locations are within the fire. In case of ESD 9, you can vote early at the administrative building, and on election day, you have to actually vote in the fire station that's within the region that you live. And I've got a map for ESD 9, so you can, I don't know if you can see the different colors. Let me get this up. Okay, but each color is a different section of the district, and each one has a different location, fire station where you're supposed to go vote. And the same thing occurs with ESD 11. There are actually 5 locations within ESD 11 that on election day, which is May 7th, you'd have to go vote, as opposed to if you vote early, you can vote at any one of the locations that allow for early voting. I think there's 4 of them for early voting. And so early voting is April 25th to May 3rd, and election day May 7th. Then our runoff election for the primary, those dates for the early voting are May 16th through the 20th, and the voting on May 24th. And that's where you actually, for those precinct chairs that have a opponent, they'll be on the ballot as well. And those are going to be run by Harris County, just like the constitutional amendment. But I don't know exactly all the places where they're going to be. I know for early voting, I think they anticipate 40 locations for those places. I know I'm over 290. So my place that I always vote is at Greenhouse. Also, my campaign advice, since I'm now running for a re-election to the SREC. So for those of you that are delegates at the convention, you get to, if you're in SD7, you get to vote for me. And my campaign advisor told me that I'm supposed to get endorsements. So I've got a sheet to get around and get endorsements. And yeah, that's my campaign advisor, Valerie Swanson. So if anybody wants to come sign my endorsement sheet, just come around and see me. Thank you.
I did invite, late last night, I emailed David Hogan to see if he could come speak on the bond election, and I don't see him anywhere. David Hogan isn't here, is he? Who knows the most about the Klein School District bond election that would like to just take a couple of minutes to say why we're voting against it? And I have a feeling it's Kristen Cobb. Where did she go? Okay, if she's not here right now, I can go switch something. Klein School District. Okay, let me go to the next one and then or I can come back to that. Kristen, do you want to speak on the Klein ISD bond? Kristen ran for the Klein ISD school board and has really learned so much about what's going on there.
So I'll just put a few quick little points in there. I think that one of the biggest things that people try to do is pull at your heartstrings for things like technology, because we see our computers, we see them crashing, and for things like safety. But honestly, if you look at these bonds, they are not itemized at all, not even a little bit. And so they're trying to tell us that right now you're going to get a 0.3% increase per $100 valuation. But if you look at each bond separately, each one of those estimates that it's going to be higher. So it's more like 8.5%. But they're also estimating the future tax rate that you're going to go up at a stagnant rate, which we know that our property taxes are going up in large percentages every year. But one of the biggest points that I want to give people is, number one, we don't need an event center at a time when the construction costs are at an all-time high. If we need, and I do understand and sympathize with the fact that these people on sports teams are coming home super late on a Thursday, because I mean, there's been studies everywhere that the kids need sleep, and maybe we do need a stadium. But in an economy like this, with inflation rising, we need a very small one so that we can do that and we can build upon it and grow. But they're already $1.1 billion in debt, and they need to learn how to live within their means. We're spending $22,000 per kid per year. Plus, there is $20,000 in debt per child already. So we're going to be adding to that. And as for the technology, we need to look at different ways to get technology, because computers are obsolete with three to 5 years, and we don't put long-term 20-year financing onto items that are obsolete within 3 to 5 years. So you can lease computers and have them be renewed yearly. You can have contracts, but these things and these items that they're asking for, we don't know what it is they really want. They're going to tell you what they're going to do with it. In bonds in past, in Klein ISD specifically, they have also decided that once these bonds passed, that they didn't want to actually use it for what they told the community they were going to use it. Because think about this. Which police are you going to call when the school doesn't use that bond money for what they said that they were going to do? And who's going to enforce it? Maybe you could sue the school, but guess who's going to be paying for their legal representation? You are, your tax dollars. Just like your tax dollars are paying for all of this promotion, which, by the way, I believe to be illegal electioneering, and we're going to be filing a complaint about that with the Texas Ethics Commission. So let's all vote no on that bond. It's really important that we vote on these ESD guys too, because there's a couple real corrupt people that want to get on that board as well. So you've got to get up here. You've got to vote no on these bonds. You've got to vote, for all of the things, and look into the characters that are going to be on the ballot in May 7th. It's super important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One other thing I read about the bonds is that there's some kind of clause in it that says there's really no limit of the rate and how much it's going to be. We'll decide that when we come to it, or something like that.
Right. So it is an unlimited. They can raise your taxes to collect the debt and the interest, unlimited. Which, by the way, the interest on a $1.1 billion bond is like half of that, so $500 million. So that's not really good spending either. So that is the language. And so you'll see some arguments saying, well, but the state legislature caps that at a certain rate. But I'm telling you, the language is there that way for a reason. And they're going to send lobbyists if they want to collect more than 2.5% through TASB, which is one of the hugest, most powerful lobbying arms in the state of Texas, that goes and uses our taxpayer dollars from the schools to lobby for the items that they want. And they can go up there and pass that rate to a higher rate. And we won't notice what's going on until we're taxed out of our homes. I know in my precinct, 690, I'm on the border of Tomball ISD, and I'm the furthest north in Harris County. So I'm on the border of Montgomery County. And my neighbors, when I'm block walking, when their houses are for sale, they're already moving just a mile to the right or to the left, to the north or to the east, to get out of the property taxes we have in Harris County. And so we're just going to lose more people. It's not going to build value. It's going to bring down property values, and people are going to move out of the district. So it is not needed. And they need to learn how to live inside their means like the rest of us, especially in this kind of an economy. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I asked the right person. Thank you, Kristen. Okay, and we have been sending emails about that. And you can go to David Hogan's Facebook page, or I think there's one called Vote No on Klein ISD Bond, actually a Facebook page about that. So watch for those and share them with your friends and neighbors. Next, I want to hear from Kevin Brost and Chris David about ESD 11. And a few years ago, we worked so hard to get Kevin Brost elected because 14, oh my word. And wow, they have really had to work hard to overcome corruption. So I'll let them tell you about it.
I shall. Wonderful, Norval. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us. My name is Kevin Brost. My name is Kevin Brost. I have been fighting this corruption inside of Harris County ESD 11 for the past 14 years. Lots of y'all that have been around a long time have known Fred Grundemeyer as well. Fred Grundemeyer is on the board with me currently, and he's been on the board since the inception of ESD 11 for 18 years, and he has decided not to run this time. So, want me to hold it even louder? Okay, all right, even louder. Okay, my bad. We have picked Chris David to run with me this time because Chris David has been involved in EMS and fire throughout the district as well, along with me for a long time. He's been trying to do the same thing in the Spring area for Harris County ESD 7, kind of get them straightened out too. There wasn't a whole lot of things going on in the Spring ESD, but Chris found some things and was trying to go after that. It has taken me 14 years to fight the corruption in ESD 11 and get Cypress Creek EMS fired from stealing your taxpayer money. Huge, huge ordeal. We have now sued them for about $20 million. As a matter of fact, we're going to mediation tomorrow to try to recover more of your taxpayer dollars from the bankrupt Cypress Creek EMS. The people running against us are current employees of Cypress Creek EMS trying to take the board over to steal your tax money again. So one of the big advocates for the other side is Larry Lipton. Larry Lipton, everything that's coming out of his mouth, he's lying. Period. Even last night and today, he's still spewing absolute falsities about what we're doing with your tax money. We're not being transparent. We're not doing all this kind of stuff because Larry Lipton lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in commission off his business from this corrupt company using him and then backdooring a bunch of money on the other side. We have a huge financial audit. If you want to go to the website, ESD11.com, that lists the hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money spent in the last 14 years and where it's gone and where it hasn't gone. So we've taken control of the board. Our board is totally unified as it is right now. We have put together one of the finest EMS services in the country. We've hired the best people in probably the world. Today, we have 25 more ambulances on the street every day than we did a year ago. Each one of those ambulances is about $1 million a year to run. Did I say 25 or did I say 10? Okay, we have 10. We have 10 more ambulances a day on the road than we did a year ago. So Cypress Creek used to run about 15 ambulances a day. We run roughly 25 ambulances a day. Each one of those ambulances is about $1 million a year to run. So if we're doing it on the same tax rate and the same amount of income every year, or this year that they were doing, where's that $10 million every year gone? They stole it. Just 100%. They've been stealing about $10 million a year. So they're gone. And now they're trying to take the board back over. So we're asking for your vote for Kevin Brost and Chris David to keep ESD 11 on the straight and narrow path and be transparent with your money and do the best thing we can for the citizens of the district. Got anything to say?
Yeah, I would just like to add that this is a newness to me. I'm 37 years old. I heard my pastor at Oak Ridge Baptist Church says, if you want change, get involved, run. And so here I am, right? I'm ready for all the darts. I've lived in ESD 11 for 37 years, my entire life. I was an EMT and a first responder until I had a pretty bad knee injury that removed me from that. So I've always been passionate about public safety. I work in healthcare now on the hospital side of things. So I have a pretty good understanding of what it takes to run a business in healthcare and pre-hospital healthcare, and what ESD 11 has accomplished under Kevin and his team and the current commissioners is unremarkable. In 7 months, they've put together one of the most first-class EMS agencies. And one of the things I was always taught as a younger guy is the windshield's bigger than the rearview mirror, right? So we need to keep moving forward. And when you take somebody like the two people that are the three people that are current employees, they do not have our best interests in mind. They are politically gained. They have agendas. I have zero agendas. I do not work for any of the agencies. I don't sell or do business with any of these agencies. I simply want to see an ambulance in front of my home when I need it. And I also want to see money spent wisely. And the fact that the current ESD has been able to provide a higher level of healthcare, 10 more ambulances a day. That's a lot. You see the blue and white trucks going down the road, and they're able to do it without increasing our taxes is remarkable. And I think anything but voting for us two is going to set us back as a community. And we really have a really good thing going here.
Rock and roll.
My name is Chris David. I'm on the ballot as Christopher David. I figured it was longer and it might be more appealing. So,
Yes, we're number 2 and 3 on the ballot. That's fortunately it's just a top 2 people by vote get the place in the ballot. So, I didn't until very recently when Fred decided not to run. It's kind of like every vote not for you is a vote against you, but there's 2 positions open. So to get those 2 positions filled, we had to pick a great running partner to keep the ESD on the straight and narrow and keep spending your tax money wisely. Does anybody have any questions? Can we dispel any myths? Go ahead, Miss Swanson. Okay, the best thing to do is go to ESD11.com for all this election information. Our district is very big. Our district, if you didn't know, is about the size of Atlanta. So if we were a city, ESD 11 would be about the 17th largest city in the country. And that's what we're responsible for, is your EMS in the 17th largest city in the country with about 700,000 residents. And then, over in the daytime with visitors and stuff, every bit of 1.2, 1.3 million people. So ESD11.com is the ESD's website, but it has very transparent, factual information. It has all the voting information on it. Early voting is at several different locations across the district, and anybody can vote in any of those places in early voting. But day of voting, you've got to go vote at your specific thing. And so, again, all that stuff is on the website. Our ESD 11 election website is ESD11election.com. And on Facebook, it's Vote ESD 11. Any more questions? Anything I left out? It's May 7th is the real election. And again, this is an ESD specific election. So just like your fire ESD, if you live in ESD 16, ESD 9, ESD 11, and Champions ESD, or outside the district, all of these places have their own election sites, along with whatever mud district elections and whatever other elections might be going on that time. So we have early voting and we have day of voting, and it's a little complicated because we're so large, just like Cy-Fair Fire Department. So the best thing to do is jump on there and get all the information you can. And again, I'm Kevin Brost and Chris David, and we need all the votes we can get because we've got some very corrupt people trying to take this district back over and steal your tax dollars. Christopher David. There you go.
It looks
Absolutely.
longer. Yeah.
Questions, more answers that we could possibly do? Anything? Thank you for having us.
thank you all very much.
Endorse or
We
to
do
help
have
or
lists that we can do
or
ourselves.
get their
Valerie
email
helps us do all
address.
that. We already have Norma Jeter, we have Pat Blair, we have several others that we're getting tonight as we're running around all this kind of fun stuff too. So we're following the Valerie Swanson lead and doing our endorsements and running as fast as we can, as long as we can. So
So are you guys still going to have to leave to go to another meeting?
ESD meeting to try to get more votes.
Okay, so do you want to leave those clipboards and maybe some people by the back door could handle it? We'll get them to you.
Absolutely, 100%. We'll leave some cards and stuff like that for y'all too. So we're making this hard and fast run. We've had some interesting things happen with some other political people over the last 24 hours. And again, anything you hear from, unfortunately, Sam Harless or Larry Lipton is absolutely incorrect. And what he's saying and what the facts are on our website. You can go fact check this yourself. Our audits are on there. And unfortunately, somebody's paired with the wrong people, and we're going to try to get him to change his mind very quickly for facts and for taxpayer money accountability.
So you're just saying that some people have heard false information, and so you'll be getting that out to people.
Absolutely. We'll leave these in the back with much information. Thank you all again. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. And now for our administrative reports. First of all, we want to announce we are very honored to have Kathy Turner. She is moving up to our Vice President of Fundraising. Congratulations, Kathy. And our Legislative VP, Alexei Swirsky. Would you please come and give us your report?
Thank you. The legislature is starting to have interim meetings with committees. Representative Harless is chair of a new committee, Healthcare Reform. Tom Oliverson is also on that committee. I would imagine Representative Swanson is on some committees that are meeting. So you can go to texaslegislature.com or .org. I'm not sure which one, and you can see if there's any that interest you. You can always go and testify in the committee hearings, even in the non-session meetings. I've been going down to Commissioner's Court, Harris County Commissioner's Court, twice a month. It's usually the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. And I have had both Commissioner Ramsey and Commissioner Cagle express to me several times how much it means to them to have supportive people down there. So if you can even go one every 10 times, please come with me. And if you want to go, let me know. I send out notices. You can speak or not speak, your choice. Even just your presence is supportive. This meeting a week ago was very interesting. I think you would love to hear how their money is being spent. Usually the vote is 3-2, 3 communists against 2 Republicans. And I'm very serious when I say that. So they voted to hire a search firm for a new elections director. She resigned, but it's not effective till July 1st. So that gives her time to mess up 3 more elections. I thought it was only 2, the May 7th and May 24th elections. But there's a good chance some of the candidates, like for this ESD we heard tonight, there may be some runoffs, in which case there will be an election in June. So, okay, will you please straighten that out when you get up here? Senator Bettencourt will straighten out my misinformation there. And they also voted to hire a firm to figure out what went wrong with the last election. I mean, okay, come on. Isabel Longoria. Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll take the fee, whatever, and I can tell you what went wrong. We did have a victory on Tuesday. Very unusual 4-0 vote. Judge Hidalgo abstained from voting. Kim Ogg, and I know things are really strange down there when I'm starting to line up a little bit with Kim Ogg, who's a Democrat. She's been down there the last 2 meetings because the county administrator, Mr. Berry, and his treasurer, Mr. Ramos, just took money from the DA's budget, district attorney's budget, without even any notice, and she's trying to hire DAs. So this last meeting, she had department heads down there that were very eloquent and explained exactly what this means in terms of crime and cases not getting prosecuted. And so they voted 4-0 to reinstate the money they had taken from the DA's office. So that was very rare, but they had around 50 constables in uniform at this meeting last Tuesday, and I think that had an effect. Okay, that's all I have to say for today. Thank you.
the microphone again. Have we had any more elected officials or candidates come in? Stan, how did I miss you? Everybody, this is Stan Stannard, and he's running again, and we really need him back. So. Amen.
Everybody's got to work, so be prepared and begin to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. Thank you for being here, as almost always. And I did promise any runoff candidates that are here will get to speak. And I think the only two I know are Marianne Jackson is representing Alex Miller, and then Vidal Martinez. Marianne, would you like to come up and speak? Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. My name is Marianne, like Norma mentioned, and I did join Alex's army. I met Alex Miller back in December at a brunch, and I stopped to research the other 8 candidates that she was running against. So I'm really proud that Alex has gotten to the runoff, and I wrote a little stuff down so that I won't forget, but Alexandra Miller is a combat veteran. She's a West Point and Harvard grad. Alex is very intelligent. She is young and full of energy. The main thing that Alex wanted me to talk about tonight is that she is very much supported by the law enforcement. And being a mom with young adults out there running around, it's very important to me, and I'm sure all of you, the crime that's out there, and that we want to feel safe and be safe. She's been endorsed by Mark Herman, Ted Heap, and just got Phil Sandlin's support today. Alex has impressed me with her discernment. I talked to her a lot more often than I thought I would be when I got involved with this campaign. She has impeccable integrity, her willingness to work hard. I'm retired, so I'll be texting or sending an email late at night. And I'll be so surprised because she's responding to me still at 12, 1 o'clock. And I asked her, I said, how do you do that? And she said, Marianne, I was in the Army. I worked late and got up early. So she is a hard worker. Another thing that really has impressed me since the beginning when I first met her, she told me how she would call out Lena Hidalgo. And she's been, twittering war, and she wrote a brief. She's or filed an amicus brief. She is a hard worker, and she's been fighting Lena for many, many months. Her husband, parents, and family are here in Houston to support her with her little ones that are very precious. On April 30th, I'd like to invite all of you to join us. There's a group of us who put together an event at the VFW Hall on 290 in Cypress from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock on April 30th. It's a unique event. It's a roundtable discussion with 6 strong Harris County heroes who are also supporters of Alex Miller. You might have heard of Dr. Mary Bowden, Jennifer Bridges, the nurse that became very famous, Doc Green, David Hogan. Some of you might know David. He ran for a congressional district. And David was also a big leader with the United Airlines employees when they were fighting the mask and vaccine mandates. And a special guest that we have helping us is the Master of Ceremony, is the infamous Wayne Delchifino. If you're my age, we know Wayne Delchifino, and we're really excited. A lot of the parents and different people I've been working with remind me of Wayne. They've been investigating different candidates. I mean, you have to become like a researcher to get to the best people. So we're really excited to have this event coming on April 30th. You'll get to hear Alex, get to hear some of these other incredible heroes of Harris County. And one thing, when I was driving over here, I was listening to the radio, another show, Michael Berry, and he was talking about how we do not want to ever have another lockdown and mask mandates and vaccine mandates. And Alex has that on her website, and she's a fighter. So I'm really proud of Alex that she's going to be true to that stance. And if you want to know more about Alexandra, go to alexandramealer.com. And she has a wonderful website, lots of information, and the endorsements continue to grow and grow. Thank you very much. And I hope you will vote for Alex. Thanks.
Thank you, Marianne. And I don't disagree with anything you said about Alex. She's a good woman and she's a formidable candidate and opponent here. I don't want to talk to you about that. I want to talk, and I don't want this to be a campaign speech because I want to hear what Uncle Paul has to say. His is a lot more entertaining. Trust me. 4 Sundays ago, AOC was in San Antonio, 2 candidates for Democrats. She was there, and her guest of honor sitting right there was Lena Hidalgo. And she tells this audience, she said, folks, this is the plan. And listen to this because it's a very nuanced plan. You know that 4 out of 5 counties, the largest counties in Texas, are all deep blue. San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and El Paso. Houston, not so much. Ed Emmett only lost by 19,000 votes out of 1.6 million cast. But Ted Cruz lost by over 200,000. And we've lost the last 3 cycles, folks, to the Democrats. And we've wiped out our judges, good judges like Brad right here. And so what we have in our hands, this is their plan. And she's telling them the largest group of Latinos in the state lives in Houston, which is true, folks. It's 3.2 million. We get her reelected. She locks in the Latino community that now just figured out they're not Democrats. She locks them in, takes another 4 years here. Harris County becomes deep blue, and she's your next governor in 2026. And folks, it's mathematically possible when you have all 5 counties that way. Now, let's think about that for a second. I voted for the first time in November of 72 when I turned 18, and I voted for Nixon and John Tower. Not since that day has a Republican taken the White House without carrying Texas. And if you do the Electoral College math, if California, Texas, and New York line up, they run the table on us for about a decade or 2. So, folks, this is a national race sitting right here. We have to pay attention to this. We have the wind at our back this time. We have the midterm correction. God bless, I'm still lighting a candle to Joe Biden's health every day. If he just stays, literally, remember a lot of us, I'm looking around the room. Remember Jimmy Carter's 4 years? Okay. Who knew that anyone could do it worse than Carter in 1 year? Okay. And we have a top of the ticket, a stable top of the ticket with money. Abbott has just under 100 million. Dan Patrick has right at 50 million, and they're going to deploy it. And they're deploying it here. And they're deploying it going after the Latino community. That's our new vote, folks. That's the future of the Republican Party. And that's what we have to pay attention to going forward. We got to have someone that is qualified, experienced, and electable. And I've been around here 47 years. I've been your port commissioner, U of H regent, state bar president. I've been federal prosecutor. I've done everything in every seat that the county takes care of. I've never run for office before. But this time I saw this crime wave. We became the murder capital of the United States. In the health area, she takes us to 4 red level threats without ever talking to anyone in the medical center. In transportation, we've been fighting for 20 and 30 years for the $8 billion on I-45, and they turn around and sue the state and give the money back to the state. So on day 1, on January 3rd at 10 o'clock in the morning, with the gavel in my hand and Cactus Jack and Tom Ramsey together, we're going to teach Rodney Ellis what a 3-2 vote looks like for the next 4 years. And that very first day, we've all agreed. Cactus Jack says, we're going to have to move the lunch break to 1 o'clock because we're going to have to do all these things by the time lunch break comes. First thing we're going to do is get rid of this catch and release bail bond reform. And I'm going to tell the biggest crime wave in history, Dallas didn't have it. They were the same. They didn't settle that case. It's cost us $100 million. We're going to cancel that settlement. And then we're going to tell your son, Kyle Scott, he's my doctor no from now on. You know, when all these bad ideas, well, Kyle, just don't pay for it. Okay. You don't have any money to pay for it. So we're getting rid of that catch and release. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the position of elections administrator. It's all going back to Stan right there. He knows how to run them. Third thing we're going to do is we're going to give the sheriffs the second half of the Ed Emmett raise that they've never gotten in 3.5 years. You know, now an HPD officer, patrolman, makes $10,000 more than a sheriff's officer right now. A third of the sheriff's department has quit. We wonder why we have problems in the jails. Okay. Well, number one, we don't have anybody in the jails because everybody's out on bond. Okay, so but we're gonna get rid of that. Instead of this decarceration program and defund law enforcement, DA needs more money. We got the biggest crime wave in our history, and we don't fund the district attorney's office. Leave out who's in the middle of who is the district attorney. And judge will tell you right here, it's the DAs that dispose of 98% of the cases, not the judges. Don't sit there and blame all the bad judges we got. We got to replace them anyway. But the DAs dispose, and we have 135,000 backlog. These are the things that we're going to do on the first day. Finally, I'm going to cancel that the lawsuit, and get our $8 billion back from TxDOT. They already have it mapped out. They already have everything here. And then the final part of it, we're going to get back to the flood plan that you all passed in the $2.5 billion in August of 2018. That affects this area more than anything else. And if you've noticed, there are 191 projects, only 18 have been fixed almost 5 years later, finished, and less than 50 have commenced. And they've tried to move all the money inside the Beltway now. That's what they're doing right now. They're stealing your money. You voted on it. It's a contract. This is going to happen on the first day. It hasn't been a good 100 days for Harris County. We can't run an election. Okay. 253 counties can, but not us. We got Texas Rangers with search warrants going in there. We got all sorts of things that are happening in our county right now that just shouldn't be happening. We have the top aides to our county judge being indicted. We are 7.5 million people. We are the third largest county in America. Let's start acting on it. But they're not going to just give it to us, folks. We're 200,000 out of round in the last 3 election cycles. We got to get out there, and no one's going to say it's a good day to give Harris County back to the Republicans. We're going to have to go out there and fight for it, get it, and hold on to it. I'm ready to do that on day one for you. I hope you will take a serious look at both candidates. One of us is going to gavel in, and I hope it's me, and I hope I have your support. Vote Vidal Martinez. Thank you very much. This is my favorite club.
I don't think anyone here really needs an introduction to Uncle Paul Bettencourt, but he's been with us a long time in several different positions, and he's just got a great story for us tonight, and will update us on all the important things. And I'm embarrassed that I don't have his bio with me, but from 3 to 5 this morning, my computer went on airplane, and I was trying to send agendas to our board, and finally gave up. I went to bed at 6 and got up at 10. So I didn't get his bio, but I'll let him tell what he wants you to know about himself. Thank you, Paul. Are you ready? He's trying to send something to David. Needs 1 more minute. Okay. I'm not going to sing. We just have a lot to be thankful for tonight with all the great reports that we've had. Kristen and the ESD 11 guys and Tom Nobis, and thank you so much. Kristen?
Well,
what we would like to do is we want to invite everybody here to join our family. We consider this club a family, and we would love to have you join. And so see Kristen at the end of the meeting, because she has an application for you, and we want to have you as a part of us. And here comes our favorite Uncle Paul.
Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, that's great. Don't forget to see Kristen. Kristen, raise your hand. She'll sign you up and take your money. Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to get excited? Because we've got some exciting news, okay? For those of you, if you didn't hear Alexi, yes, 3 of Lena Hidalgo's staff, including her chief of staff, got indicted and arraigned arraigned on the charges this morning, okay? Now, why that's important is this culture of corruption has to stop, okay? Because the county has slid into crime and corruption, and the only 2 destinations left on a National Geographic magazine are Chicago and Detroit, and you don't want to be in either city, okay? And you don't want to be living around either city because the crime chases you wherever you go. How many people are worried that somebody's going to take their catalytic converter out of their car right out here? Well, you should be, okay? All right? And Mark Herman and others have been doing great work trying to fight this, okay? But, we're dealing in a situation where we have a leftist progressive majority that doesn't care about crime, because actually they want criminals on the streets. Because regardless of whether it's Vidal or Alex, I can tell you Lockdown Lena doesn't want to lock down any prisoners at the jail. And Don knows this because I had to turn in an amicus brief with Valerie Swanson, okay, because she wanted to release 4,000 people from the jail. Okay, you remember that? Okay. Now, the federal judge went with us and stopped it. But are you ready? Okay, good. And I want to show you something that I'm actually been quite proud of because it tells the truth. How many people remember Jack Cagle questioning Judge Lynn on her contract? What you're going to see is her responses, because I decided it was time to get all the middle people out. Okay. Because I wanted the public to see what a leftist progressive socialist judge is like. Okay. Because it starts with inexperience. It gets to incompetence, and then you see disingenuous, and then you got corrupt. Okay. Sounds very similar to the election administrator. Okay. Sonia, you agree because you're right, because she's an election expert. She should be the elections administrator if we're going to have one. Okay. No offense, Stan. You'll be the elected official. She'll do the work. Okay. But wasn't that like a county clerk's office in the past? Didn't I hire both of you all at the tax office? Uncle Paul's a genius. Okay. All right. Now, I want you all to watch this, because when we got into this tussle, and this was back in August of 2021, that Jack Cagle actually had to hold up a PC and said, here's the person you're giving this contract to. Single person firm, apartment off of Montrose, no prior business experience. And Lena called him a bald-faced liar. All right. That's what started this conversation. You'll see how it finishes. Go ahead, Dave, fire it up so everybody can hear it.
Bring it on, because there is nothing here other than an appropriate COVID response and someone who's gone to lengths to even avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest. So bring it.
Search warrants made public today outline allegations that employees in the judge's office helped steer that $11 million contract to a particular vendor with political ties.
This firm was selected by a committee that I had no idea who the firms were that applied.
A trail that suggests that these 3 critical employees of Judge Lena Hidalgo not only wrote the final exam, gave the answers to Elevate strategies, and then got to grade the exam to ensure that Elevate got an $11 million outreach contract.
I don't look, man. I have no eggs on this other than I'm responsible for the response.
Elevate Strategies won the $10.9 million contract despite not getting the highest score in the evaluation process. A bid from UT Health scored the best, but according to the search warrants, senior county leaders texted, "We need to slam the door shut on UT and move on, and don't let UT get it."
So spare me the outrage.
The public's not going to spare her the outrage on this. Okay. All right. Now, look, I wanted people to see what she's really like. That's how she treats the Republican commissioners down there who happened. Jack Cagle was as righteous literally as Holy Week is this week when he was questioning her because the facts were clear. This person had no right to even be on a contract list in the first place. If Don Summers and I, who was the county treasurer and tax assessor, Don, if we had given out a contract like this, okay, if this is even before Stan got his job, I mean, Don, it would be death by hanging, death by firing squad, death by phaser. They would have disintegrated us, okay? That's how bad this is because they purposely rigged the bid. It's not even a question. You look at the 80 pages count of the Texas Rangers investigation. And today, 3 people are down with the chief of staff, basically, taking their charges. Now we knew about it because the district clerk, where is Chris Daniels when we need him? Okay. Because Chris's replacement released the charges the day early. I think it was at 9 a.m. before it may have not even before the grand jury voted on them. We don't know. Okay. But what's important about this is the public won't stand for it. They're already scared. Okay. They're scared their car is going to get hit for their catalytic converter. And oh, by the way, if Constable Herman was here, he's lost a deputy to somebody that shot him for questioning that. Okay. There is tremendous gang activity. Okay. On all this, on these criminal rings that are working these catalytic converters, because there's millions, tens of millions, maybe $100 million in it in this area alone. And that's why people are shooting and killing deputies when somebody's questioning it. Now, we've got a group that will do anything except lock up criminals, as best I can determine. Now, I will tell you this, that there is a sea change that's happened. Who has noticed John Whitmire ripping people on Fox News? You've seen it, okay? All right. You've seen law and order liberals now starting to side with conservative and moderate Republicans because they can't stand this either. And now I think Curtis and I were talking in the back. Curtis, you still here? Okay, Curtis, how much is Hidalgo's polling numbers dropped? Yeah, a net 15. It goes from 48 positive, okay, down to 40 positive, and 35 negative up to 42. She's actually upside down, okay? Now, she's upside down because people can't stand the crime and the corruption. They can't stand it. Now, she also decided, as you can tell here, she set herself up to be above. She's going to be above politics, Vanell, okay? Marianne, you can tell Alex she's going to be above, having, because she's going to set the highest ethical standards, okay? And there's a Democrat consultant, Nancy Sims, very in tune person on the side, that said it's most unfortunate that her 3 top aides have been indicted, okay? Well, it is most unfortunate, all right? Now, why is that important, okay? Look, when you look where on the ballot is this county judge's race? Where's on the ballot? Anybody know? Not at the end. No, it's in a better place than the end. Okay. It's above the county court of law judges, all these criminal county court of law judges. Okay. All right. Now we know for sure that Crime Stoppers and others, HBOU and many other groups have documented how many people have been released by magistrates. They've been letting people out like popcorn on personal reconnaissance bonds. Senator Huffman tried to pass a constitutional amendment that would basically pull the idea that you automatically going to get bond no matter what your charges are. We couldn't get it through the House because we needed 2/3 vote. But guess which state rep here helped block it? Ann Johnson and the real leftist progressives. Now, so what we're set up here is the truth. The truth is that a leftist progressive fight in the Democrat Party really occurred. By the way, Whitmire, anybody know what his opponent got in the race against John Whitmire, the dean of the Senate? Leftist progressive first-time socialist candidate, got 42% of the vote. Now, so we are going to win this thing because the breakthrough's already happened. When a county executive, or we call them county judges, obviously here in Texas, when their numbers fall like this, they don't come back up. This is not some game of, hopscotch or, slinky or some rubber band. When that polling numbers fall, it's because people have lost confidence in their leadership because they see it every day. Okay. Now, this event that happened yesterday and today is national news. And I want to notice that there's two things as an observer that I've noticed. Okay. And I'll let my lawyers in here comment. One thing is I've noticed that the person getting the money has not been indicted. Okay. Odd, isn't it? Somebody, what? Why is the person that's not getting the money not indicted? Okay. Anyway, now when you look at the three people that were, two of them are saying, I'm not guilty. And the third one is saying nothing because they know nothing. They hear nothing. They say nothing. That's Sergeant Schultz for the millennials out there that don't know that. Okay. Right. Hogan's Heroes. All right. Now, okay. And when that occurs, you have to step back and say, that's interesting. Now, we really, there are elections that really matter. We've all been told, hey, this is the most important election, blah, blah, we've all said that. But for Harris County, this is the most important election. Because if that balloon gets popped at the county judge's race, and I believe it will, that means there's a whole bunch of judges right below that are ready to flip over, especially county criminal court judges that have been releasing people like popcorn. Okay. Now, because it's not just the Republicans that are unhappy about this, because when you look at the crime stats is it about 180 now? I forget. I haven't looked at Crime Stoppers lately. About 180 people that have been allegedly murdered by 170, something like that. Of a lion's share are people of color. Okay. Because that's where that crime, that murder is occurring. It's occurring in people of color's neighborhoods. So they don't feel safe either. There's no one that feels safe. Okay. Because when people are being shot, that are being let out of court, no one's safe. I mean, we've seen it. Herman has, what did Herman have to buy? He was on my radio show. Who are my listeners? He had to start arming his people with AR-15s because the crooks have them and he wants them to know that he's got them. Because he wants to know that he's got firepower and he can shoot back, especially after what happened to the deputy on his own car who got shot because somebody was literally jacking the catalytic converter off his car, off his truck. Now, I'm telling you that no more political correctness. Okay. These people are incompetent. Okay. They are inexperienced. They are disingenuous. And they are corrupt. Okay. All right. And we're not going to take, and we're taking all the political correct gloves off because the Democrats already have. Okay. I mean, Valerie, how many times have you been called a racist about something? Every day on the floor of the House. Okay. Every day on the floor of the House. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Okay. Because that's the last card that's left. When you look at the Democrat Party, you've got a whole series of coalitions, okay? And they're trying desperately to get enthusiasm in their coalitions. But they're flat as a pancake, to quote Sergeant Schultz, okay? Literally flat as a pancake, okay?
But the Republicans are energized and the independents are energized. And also the Hispanic voter, okay, is now realizing there's not much really here with Lena Hidalgo unless you're a leftist progressive socialist, okay? Then you're going to vote for her. But I think law and order liberals are going to dump her, okay? Because they don't feel safe. And the reality is that we have to press this advantage. Now, y'all, who was in the SD7 convention, okay? All right. Uncle Paul got out the gavel from Bunt Rock and I pounded it on the table. And I said, we have got to pound this in now. Now, because it's the truth. You know, the reality is the Chronicle can chill for as much as you can do on print. Okay. But the television stations have turned over a new leaf because she went to a press conference after these indictments and refused to speak. She said, on the advice my lawyer, I'm not saying anything. Even Ted Oberg said, well, you got everybody here, so why don't you go clarify it? Oberg was a lot less nice to Stan. Okay. All right. But when she didn't answer, they decided that was it, because you have to have some fundamentals here. So I don't care when you're talking to your kids, and especially with your kids, you can't just say socialism is bad. They've been trained, unfortunately, in education that socialism kind of means fairness. Okay. You have to explain to them that socialism means releasing 4,000 people from the jail, having nearly 180 people killed because we've got magistrates letting people out on bond or low dollar felony bonds. Okay. We've got defunding of the police going on. They would love to do away with the constables. That got all 8 constables, 5 Democrats, 3 Republicans down to Commissioner's Court because they didn't want their jobs taken away. Okay. Because people don't feel safe without the contract deputy program. And we got a sheriff that's still been trying to get appointed over and over again in Washington, okay, by the Biden administration, as opposed to doing something about jail safety in his day job. So no more political correctness, okay? Everybody, family, church, work, friends, hammer them, okay? Not to say that they're the problem. Hammer the nail with your hammer of truth, because we've got facts. We've got more bullets than we can shoot in a political campaign right now. You know, in fact, it was, who was Kellyanne Conway, who came to Deanna, the Greater Houston Council, right? And if Deanna's my office director, if you need me, okay? Yeah, give Deanna a hand, okay? She said politics needs to be about telling people what they don't know. Okay. Now that's what you all have to do, because they need to know what you saw here with Lena, because that's really Lena Hidalgo. That's her. That's how she treats Commissioner Cagle. She first off calls him a bold-faced liar and then goes, did she not know who the Elevated Strategies contract was? Tell me, did she not know it? Here she says nobody knew who they were. Okay. No, I mean, and so somebody, and I also have people that come up to me and say, you know, I really feel sorry for her if she's young. Okay. Now, I feel sorry for anybody that's inexperienced if they don't get the wisdom of many counselors. Okay. But I don't feel sorry for that, because that's somebody that's not just inexperienced, not somebody who's incompetent. That's somebody that is completely disingenuous. Now, that video, Uncle Paul Skunk Works, Tom, got 166,000 views. Okay. Now, I emailed it, so I decided, okay, I'll email it to Republicans. Okay, great. People opened it. I emailed it to Independent Stan, okay, and got nearly 20% of the people to open it. And we sent it to Democrats, and we got over 10% of the people to open it. Those are unheard of numbers, because I'm a Republican. They're not supposed to open emails from me. But tell me, do they feel safe? No, because everybody doesn't feel safe. Do they know this is not corruption? And they know it's corruption. Okay. And those are the 2 nails that we're just going to keep driving, because here's what's at stake. Without some change in direction, this Commissioner's Court has already jackknifed whatever efficiency that we've had down in county government. They have fired most of the people, like the Bruce Hyde, the IT director, you remember, got replaced with Rick Noriega. Right. The real. Now, look, Rick is a brigadier general. He's a former state rep. I like the guy, but he didn't know anything about IT. But to a socialist, does job qualifications matter? Okay. All right. Isabel Longoria. Okay. Now let's talk about this. 5 months of she worked at an election office, and the only thing she did was read from the Zuckerberg Foundation money that they got that said, do the following 9 things. Mail all absentee ballots to everybody on the voter roll, cancel voter signatures, drop out lot box, don't do, go down that list. Okay. Now, that was Uncle Paul blowing the whistle as loud as I could to get, and Ken Paxton came running to help along with Secretary of State, and we stopped him from mailing that 2 million absentee ballots out. And now we've got SB1 that plugged that hole permanently. Now, and the other thing is, we're not apologizing for SB1. It's a voter integrity bill. And you look at the stuff that we've had to fight in Harris County. I get up on the floor, Valerie seen me do it, and I go over the list of the problems in the state of Texas. There's still 1,884 unexplained votes from drive-through voting in Harris County in 2020. There's more votes than what's on the county voter roster. Okay. All right. We had 1,300 votes in Williamson County that showed up after the canvass that never got added. Okay. If SB1 didn't have the reconciliation language that Harris County Republican Party, which is Cindy Siegel and Al Vera and My Skunk Works insisted that we put in the bill, we would have never known they were 10,000 votes short, Stan, because she went before a judge and swore that she had all the votes counted on Thursday. So the judge dismissed the lawsuit. Okay. And to tell you how fast things can move in county government against you, Saturday night, she drops the news at guess what time, Isabel Longoria? Almost midnight after the 10:30 newscast. She puts out a press release that says, oh, we found 10,000 votes, 6,000 Republican, 6,000 Democrat, 4,000 Republican. Oh, it's a great find. Okay. All right. Now, as fast as Cindy Siegel could get her lawyers into court, we ran in there with it, open up that last, court case. They had already miraculously signed the order within 24 hours. Okay. So the judge knew we were coming back and they just wanted to get out of the way. All right. She's in court today. Cindy is again. And give Cindy a real big hand. Okay. Because I stood up with her for 3 times. Okay. On, at one press conference where we called for Longoria to quit. Uncle Paul started Tuesday night. Okay. Because I'd never seen, who are my election judges? Raise your hand. Have you ever been to an election where the equipment wasn't ready on Friday night or Saturday morning? David, ever? Never. And once the equipment's not ready, you got people in the field, you got to chase them. We had the wrong ballot styles. The wrong ballot size. Okay. One mistake after the next. It was a catastrophe. Now, I gave 2 interviews on national news, and I've got the tapes, and I can't wait to play them back. It's CBS Morning News wanted to know, he was absolutely sure that there was Republican bills that have caused the problem. And I went down and predicted how bad it was going to be. They didn't run any of the prediction, but I've got it on tape. So I'm going to run that when we get a spare moment. But that's the media. You know who the voters are. You talk to them, voice one, point blank, and you tell them, if we don't get rid of these people, we're going to have a crime wave that businesses can't handle, that the public won't tolerate, and they're going to do what? They're going to move. Okay. All right. We're going to lose jobs because they're going to move because people aren't safe. Okay. And that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about keeping the community safe because these policies that the Biden administration all the way down, and Vidal's right about, they have that eye on Lean Hidalgo, okay, are all about a leftist progressive mantra. It is not faith-based. It is not reality-based, okay? It's not what gets measured gets fixed, okay? It's all about a state of being. That means you can have, 11 prior convictions and you should get out of jail, okay? And oh, by the way, on the 12th, if you kill somebody, that's not our fault, okay? I mean, that's what we're up against. Now, we've got a real chance, okay? Because I'm going to predict right now that I'm waiting for what I think will be another indictment, okay? And because the evidence is there, it's so clear. I just want to make sure you all understand this, because I jumped on this the moment I heard it. She was up against a bid against UT Health Science Center, okay? $7.5 million. Her original bid, this elevated strategies, was $19 million, okay? They negotiated her down to 11.1 and then miraculously gave her the contract. And then when they repealed it, they had her give back 200,000. So that's why it got reduced to 10.9. Okay. All right. And this is a sole proprietorship who only ran mayoral candidates, on the Democrat side, and had about a dozen or more other Democrat operatives on a Christmas tree contract. Okay. And there's no fact or supposition of the fact that there wasn't a low bid state agency. So I just picked up the phone and called immediately the state agency and the AG's office and anybody in Austin. And I said, here's what I know. I hope somebody's going to file a complaint, use me. And I did have somebody stop and say, you want to go on record? I said, of course I want to go on record, because this is corruption. Okay. So I want you to say 2 words: crime and corruption. Say it like you believe it. Right. And that's what you say. Because look, everybody already knows what Biden is. Biden is defined. Okay. All right. And so we don't have to waste the time defining Biden. But we got to talk about 2 things that people matter to Texans. They matter to Houstonians. They matter to all the residents of Harris County: crime and corruption. Because it doesn't matter where you come from, what you look like, who you sleep with, okay, whatever, you're going to worry about what? Crime and corruption. That's it. Okay. Because it's the truth. So I gave I guess about a year ago, to the Harris County Republican Party, all the precinct chairs, I gave what I thought was an optimistic view that we could win, because I felt like I knew the Biden administration was going to collapse. You could see it in the first month, and that we were going to have a huge run up in federal federal numbers as Republicans. Now, what I had no idea is how utterly incompetent the Biden administration is. Okay. Just utterly incompetent. Now, when Chapter 42 goes away, Title 42 goes away. All right. No, because this is the key next big event. Okay. Even though I think I believe the evidence exists for another indictment, which will be a key event. Okay. When they take all the safeties off the border. Okay. All right. And that's when I think that is going to be the last straw that breaks the camel's back in America, because there is nothing that will do except just drive complete mayhem in a system already overloaded with illegal immigration and the resulting problems with it. And it's not debatable. Okay. And the fact that that was the one policy that even Trump's strongest critics, if they were being remotely objective, would say that's the public policy that's working, because the stay-at-home policy was working. Keeping people in Guatemala and Honduras employed was working. Everything he was doing was working on that. And everything Biden has touched is the reverse Midas touch. It's done. Okay. I mean, and so with everything, we're going to win. I'm not even going to give you my normal rah-rah. Okay. I'm past it. I know we're going to win. See, because I've had people stop me that are, working in a gas station, cutting people's hair, working on a construction site. And they're saying, there's something wrong with this county judge and the county government. And I'm going, corruption. Oh, that's a good word. Corruption. Say it. Okay. Because it's true. All right. This is one of the times that this line is as bright as I've ever seen it. Don, you got elected before me. He's the only person that's alive in the county that was elected as a Republican before I am. Okay. And Don, have you ever seen a bright line like this? No. Because it's there. Use it. Okay. Because it's real. All right. Now, and the other thing is, I'm glad to hear that you complimented Marianne right off the start. No, but Marianne speaking for Alex. Okay. because we don't need to be fighting. We can go ahead and make a choice. We don't need to be fighting anymore, okay? Because we save all our fight for the people that are forcing crime and corruption down the people's throats of Harris County. That's what this is, okay? All right? I mean, do y'all see it? Making sense? Are you going to get excited with me about this? Are we going to fight? I can't hear you. Are we going to fight? Let them hear you downtown. Are we going to fight? Amen, brothers and sisters. And we're going to fight and win. We're going to win. We're going to take back seats. We're going to break through for the first time in a long time. I think it was 16 that we actually won some races. We didn't win any in 18 or 20. Okay. What's that? Yeah, I think we won some more district races. But look at the last election. Ted Heap wins, okay, down in a very difficult area in Southwest Houston where Cagle's running now. What was the one issue he ran on? Tell me. Crime and constables, okay, with their security programs. Look, it's all there. All we've got to do is do it right, okay, and not waste time, don't waste your time. If you've got an independent voter, talk to him about what? Tell me, say it. That's it. Right. Let him pick up the other stuff on Biden and Kamala or whatever. Kamala, whatever. She's got a lower approval ratio than he does. Okay. And that's saying something. Okay. And by the way, when Eric Andel is on the radio with me, who are my three amigos listeners? Okay. More of you should be doing it. I'm disappointed. If you had listened to the three amigos, you got more votes. Okay. I know. Right. And because Eric made a funny comment, I asked him, I said, look, about a month ago, I said, okay, is the Biden administration worse than the Carter administration? Oh, yes. Not even a question. Okay. What year is it for the Democrats? 1994. You remember that year? Okay. That's the year that I saw Bill Archer down at the JW Marriott cry because he had been a U.S. congressman for 20 years and never thought he was going to be in the majority, much less the House Ways and Means chairman. Okay. He was crying for joy. He couldn't believe what had happened. Now, right. Contract with America, great year when you do real public policy for real people. Now, that's what's going to happen to the Democrats, but they're not going to be crying tears of joy. But we got a job to do. Everybody you talk to, you hammer in what? Say it. That's it. From here to game day, okay? Because it's the truth, okay? And people are listening. Trust me, they're listening. When Curtis gave out those poll numbers, it's right. It's been a huge shift. Look, and I don't bear ill will on anyone, but I'm not going to have the county descend into corruption, okay? I mean, that's what this is, okay? Let's give out this contract. Let's do everything we can to give it to somebody, but not the qualified state agencies that the low qualified bidder. That's the beginning of the end of any type of ethics and the beginning of outright corruption, just like what happens in Chicago and Detroit. Okay. Not going to stand for it because we can beat it. Okay. And I've never seen Republicans more energized, quite frankly. And we're getting people coming up and saying, talk to some of your precinct chairs, especially down in Houston. They're getting people come up to them when they're running these joint elections. I want to be a Republican. I'm voting with you this time. Okay. I had a Memorial High School class of 76. Okay. Which means I'm not quite as old as Don and Vidal are. Okay. All right. But my liberals came up to me and said, they can't stand what's happening and they're not voting leftist progressive. Okay. We've got this. We just need to do it. All right. And I mean, amen. And that's it. We need to do it. So when we get through primary time, we're going to have, and I'm going to do everything I can. I don't have an opponent for the first time in my life. I have no opponent. Okay. All right. So I'm spending my money on stuff like this and robocalls. Okay. Because they don't call Uncle Paul the king of robocalls for nothing. Okay. And we're going to find everybody we can, and we're going to keep pounding this message home. It really makes a difference. I thought that some of us, I've been wondering kind of, why we're here, because you have to look around. Why are you here? What are you doing this for? Well, I've always been doing it for public policy, but now we're doing it for the health and the safety of all of our citizens, and everybody lives in this county. And I am not going to let a corrupt machine go down without the fight of my life. So I'm going to pour my money into the fight in November, even though I don't have an opponent. Okay, because I know where the real opponents are. So we're going to fight. Now, in the meantime, I want you to vote for Prop 1 and 2 because it will save you money. Okay. Sorry, I should have got my money out when I did that. Okay. Save everybody in the room money. Okay. So do that on the 7th. And then go to whatever school board election. I assume who covered that? Was that Kristen that covered it? Okay. Right. So go vote and, go vote for this. And now when you do go vote in the bond issues, you're going to see language courtesy of Uncle Paul that says this vote is for a tax increase. Because if you vote for a bond, right, Don, talk to me, it is a tax rate increase, therefore defined as a tax increase. That's actually in the ballot language for the first time. You'll see it there, okay? All right? Because that's Uncle Paul's contribution to the war effort of truth, okay? All right? Okay, now, I'm starting to get excited. Can I go again? Can I tell some more jokes? Can you all call in on Fridays to the Three Amigos? Look, get excited. We're going to win this thing. I mean, we're going to do it. We've got it. They're giving it to us. I've never seen this. Okay. And don't take anything off of anybody. Okay. Those trolls that are in your neighborhood. Okay. All right. Tell them, get lost. Okay. Get with the times. Vote against what? Crime and corruption. That's it. Whatever you do, crime and corruption. Okay. That's the top two things. I mean, Valerie's going to set a record in her district this year. Okay. Right. Because she's going to talk about what, Valerie? Yeah, see, Valerie's got it. Okay. All right. Y'all excited? Let's go get them. All right. Okay. Questions, answers. I can take answers, but Al gets the first one and then go ahead. What's that? Well, let's see. I can't figure it out. It's not Jack Cagle. Not Tom Ramsey. Really, her chief of staff was indicted. Okay. Could be the same job that Alex and Vidal are running for. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's hope, because look, it's got to stop. And just don't take no for an answer on this. Okay. Just don't put up with it. Okay. People are not on the side of crime and corruption or are on the wrong side, and they know they're on the wrong side. Okay. All right. All right. Who else? Yes, ma'am. Go. It is starting to tell you that you will vote for Republican all the way down the ballot, or we will break all your arms. That wasn't quite what you said, but you get the drift. Now, you get a question.
Remember when he just said Title 42? Let me tell you what that means to you and me. There are over 90,000 asylum seekers right here in Houston that crossed over from the border, and they're now residing here. And what this county government did, we've given them free housing. By the way, it takes 2 or 3 years to have their asylum applications. First thing this county did, passed $10 million to hire them lawyers. Second thing, free housing. Third, we have food stamps. We gave them a free cell phone. We gave them a Metro Pass. And you know what? These people are coming here. You talk about crime in the neighborhoods. You know who's most mad about this? The Latino mothers. Because they have all these people, these gang members from Central America percolating in their neighborhoods. And these are drug runners. These are people, these are bad people. MS-13 from El Salvador. We have a crime wave coming. If Title 42, that kept everyone in their home country to apply for asylum. When that stops next month, and there doesn't seem to be a change, we're going to have 18,000 crossing per day.
Now, Vidal, I'm going to take that as a question.
Yes.
Okay.
Paul, what do you think we should do about
now,
that?
I'm going to, yeah, right. Now I'm going to, yeah, that's right. These candidates, oh boy. Anyway, that's right. Okay. Yeah, no, it's right. Now, actually, Lieutenant Governor Patrick says hi. He's in town. He wanted me to tell you that he wish he could stop by tonight, but he already had another fundraiser. So, by the way, give Dan a big hand so that he can hear it from where he's at today. And Dan basically he went on Fox News and said, right. He went on, did an awesome job. He said if Title 42 drops, you're looking at 2.5 million of just walk across the border, no stopping. That's 10 million more. And by the time the Biden administration, they have their ticket punched. Okay. So that means that's a huge roll up of numbers. And look, so many people came here on legal immigration. It's just so preposterously bad public policy. But they're not going to give up on it. Now, let me just make sure you understand it. It appears that the leftist progressives are going to ride this horse literally into the ground. Okay. Now, and that's their decision. So motivate people to vote, motivate them to give them the truth, especially talk to people that are millennials, tell them what's at stake, tell them the debt loads, what they're going to have with, crime, what it's going to be like trying to raise kids here in the future, because Vidal is right. These gangs are out of here. And I know that Alex has made that, point over and over again. It's all true. It's time to bust the bad guys. Okay. Take no prisoners politically correct, because they will not give you that respect. Valerie and I, we know for sure. Okay. That they don't. All right. Questions. Sonia, by the way, Sonia's running for judge and she wants your vote. Okay. She's unopposed. Sonia asked me.
So can you talk a little bit about Isabel Longoria? What is she doing to destroy the office right now?
What hasn't she done to destroy the office?
Exactly.
Okay? Look, we've had longtime employees get fired. We've heard about them just fired on the spot for telling temporary workers to get to work. It's everything. It's what happens when you bring a truly inexperienced, incompetent person into an office that is the nation's. By the way, make sure you understand what Stan had to do was not trivial. This is the nation's third largest county. There's only 2 counties bigger. Okay. And the media used to excoriate him for if he didn't have all the results done by the 10 o'clock newscast. Okay. All right. Then Clerk Collins couldn't get it done by 7 o'clock in the morning. And then Isabel got on the phone with both political party chairs and told them she couldn't count the votes by the next statutory deadline the next day at 7 p.m. And even the Democrat Party chair ripped her on the call, all right, because he knew what it meant, okay? So, it's as a former elections official, I worry that the longer she stays, the very deep trench is going to be for anybody to try to repair it. But I will make a comment that the 2 Democrats that are on that election committee of 5, Alexi, okay, there's the Cindy Siegel, Democrat Party chair, Elena Hidalgo, and then Teresa Huspeth and Harris, okay, and Bennett Harris. The 2 Democrats want to fire her. They're voting with Cindy to fire her, but they have not been given her resignation. She's resigned to the public in a very tearful message, okay, but there's no message into the 5-person commission that she's resigned. And I believe that, this is again, Lena trying to figure out some last attempt to save an already resigned election administrator. Okay. This is preposterously bad.
Well, one thing that really makes me mad, Paul.
Oh, she's going to tell me what I missed.
Yes.
Listen.
One thing that really makes me mad is right now they have sent out the list of polling locations for May 24th, where yes. 2/3 of them are Democrat polls. And we had more turnout Republicans in the primary election than we did Democrats, yet they are concentrating all the polls in Democrat areas.
You need to listen to this. They're demanding it. They had a meeting. Cindy was on with her lawyers today. They basically demanded that that the Republican Party accepted Democrat polls. Cindy Siegel said no. Okay. And they're going to have to actually do the statutory thing, which is, Stan knows this, the party's contracted with the county clerk to run the election. And so they're going to have to do the polling that way, even if we have to force them back into precincts and voting and not countywide voting. Because we're not going to have some nutcase. And And this guy was very aggressive. The Democrat that was there, very aggressive on the phone.
Yes, yes. The Rob Isaacson, he used to be over the early voting ballot board for the Democrats, and now he had to leave because he was concerned about losing his law license. From what I understand, that's gossip, but that's pretty much what happened. So now he's.
I cannot confirm or deny that, but we'll talk about it on the Three Amigos.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Stan, you got a quick comment? And then I'm going to go back to my favorite Submariner's wife.
Paul, it looks very good for us come November, but Democrats stole elections across this country in the swing states. Dinesh D'Souza is doing a movie called 2,000 Mules.
Sure.
Where True to Vote was able to actually track cell phones going to drop boxes. So much abuse. You got to watch this movie. And you've got to be involved in Harris County elections to be working the elections or being involved so that we do not get our elections stolen in Harris County.
By the way, Al Vera, Colleen Vera got the Lifetime Achievement Award. Let's give Al and Colleen a big hand because there are now ballot security committees in every major county in the state. All right, 2 more. Dose, 1. Oh, make it 3. But, Don, you can call in on Friday. What do you want?
Went up 30%.
I would recommend protesting. And Don, by the way, is a free guide, okay? All right? Who does a great job of that, all right? Very important. And by the way, tax rates are really going to tumble because of 2 bills passed in 2019. So as values go up, this is the year you'll see tax rates really come down. We'll talk about that when we come back in the fall. Go ahead.
Uncle Paul, first of all, one lady down there asked what was the result of Isabel Longoria. I'm a precinct chair in the heart of Memorial. I'm not the only one. My area was completely discriminated against by the election people. I actually had to go to the school, one of the Spring Branch schools, and find out what happened. And I found out what happened. The election person only asked for 6 out of the usual 20 locations in the Spring Branch school district.
Right.
I didn't invent that, and I have that person's name, although it doesn't mean
anything.
anything.
let me interrupt you and tell you about Frostwood.
Yes,
Very
that's
interesting
fine.
point. That's it. Right. I knew where she had to be. There was originally not going to be an election in Frostwood because Spring Branch decided they weren't going to open the campus. But you'll be happy to know that my enterprising district director called, and it took 2 calls because on the second call, she had to say the third call is coming from Uncle Paul. And guess what? That room that was built to hold elections at Ed Johnson's suggestion, because he was the precinct chair, was open to elect it. Now, when they got it open, they did, Al, you'd be happy to know, okay, that guess which side of the voting booth worked between the Republicans and Democrats?
Democrats.
Okay, Marianne, you want to answer for him? What side? Right, the Democrat side. Republicans had terrible trouble. They barely got 6 of those machines open, okay?
Okay, so that's one result. And anyone can see that by looking at where they're putting the polling locations, which you've already noticed. It's
Right.
awful. Number 2, I may be the only person that this means anything to, but you keep calling about corruption and crime for the Democrats. I, for one, consider Lena Hidalgo a communist, and I have a picture that says she's a member of the Harris County Communist Party. It's on Facebook. It's published. I have it in my...
Would you send that to somebody right next to you? Thank you. All right.
But
And then,
what, does communist doesn't mean anything
No,
to our people? Have they been dumbed down so
no, by the
much?
way, I want to make a comment. That's very important.
Okay.
Jack Cagle in 2018 ran against a card-carrying member of the Houston Communist Club. Her name is Penny Shaw. Okay. Now, she got elected and beat Anna Eastman by about 12 votes in the Democrat primary. Okay. All right. She was featured in, let's see, what's that Stalinist organ, People's World magazine, of one of 4 races back in 2018. Now, I did a robocall and I scorched her. I mean, I said, she's a card-carrying communist. I was surprised how little reaction there was to it. Okay. Because socialism is fair. I'm not sure what people think of communists anymore. I know what Republicans, I know what I think, and I know what everybody in this room thinks. But again, just shouting labels doesn't work. Okay. Tell them what it means. 4,000 prisoners out of the jail. All non-essential businesses closed. No kids in school without masks, and no kids with in-person, in-person instruction. Right. That's what you need to say. That's the stuff that gets people moving. 2 more questions. Okay. One, go. Go. No.
Yes, Senator Paul. My name is Martin Ashwell, and being an immigrant, I'm going back to Title 42.
Thank you. Biden is trying to do this, and as our senator,
right,
for a border state, would you and Paxton sue the federal government as soon as they do that? Send it to court right away. So hopefully our courts here make it. I know it would be good for us to win elections when Title 42 goes down, but we're winning election at the cost of all these crazies coming in would not help
Martin,
us.
let me say
Thank
something.
you.
No, and by the way, thank you for joining up with the Republicanos. Give them a hand. Okay. All right. Ken Paxton has sued the federal government every opportunity, I think, humanly possible. When the Biden administration canceled the COVID order, he sued and won an injunction against him. Okay. When I blew the whistle on what was happening in Harris County in 2022, he came rushing in and filed suit against County Clerk Hollins to prevent him from mailing 2 million absentee ballots to people that have no reason to be getting absentee ballots. He has done a fabulous job of suing, and winning. In fact, he's been on quite a win streak here lately. Sadly, the only thing we've lost is that the Criminal Court of Appeals decision, which is a horrible decision by, I hate to say it, 8 Republicans that stripped the prosecutorial ability away from the Attorney General. So he's suing like clockwork. In fact, I'm going to call him on the way home and tell him, would you all give Ken a big hand, at least for what he's doing? All right. The last question.
It's not totally a question as much as information for you, because I've been an election judge for like 30 years. You were one of my trainers originally before you even were doing any political work or had been elected to anything. But
right. I was a primary director.
He was.
I got drafted. Okay.
But
Rita Ellis and I got
learned
drafted.
a lot from
Right.
y'all.
Okay.
Anyway, the situation is that we had no machines. I called in 9:30, 7:30, and then 9:30 and 11:30. 12 o'clock I called because we didn't even have a scan machine that was working. We were shorted about 5 machines. We couldn't get anybody to respond to us down there, but the Democrats called at the same time I did and got their thing immediately.
What
Got it.
precinct number?
Or
where? What part of town?
College, Lone Star College,
Okay.
Creekside.
Oh, that's almost in your district. It is? Yeah. Okay. Right. Feel it. We've got it. All these issues are real. Okay. Stand up. Come on. I want everybody to stand up. Stand up and let them hear it. We're going to win. Say it. Win, 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 win. Good night. God bless.